Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we're giving our first impressions of Gnome Hollow, which is a game we played on Board Game Arena, so we have not played the physical copy, but we did get a game of it in on there. And I believe this might have been one of our. We made a list at the beginning of the year, kind of, I think, 10 games we wanted to play on Board Game Arena. I think it made my list, I believe, or else it was close to making it, so I've been wanting to play this one for a little bit now. I think I'd heard a lot of people kind of sing its praises a little bit, but that's been a little while now, and I feel like I haven't quite heard as much of it since. So I felt like sometimes that happens to games that are maybe average, but I was still excited to give it a try. I think in physical copy, if we had that, I believe this is like there's some magnetic pieces to the board and stuff. I think those little cube cylinder things that go down into the bottom spots
Oh,
on your player board are magnetic, so they stick to the board.
hmm.
Don't know if that is helpful or not. It's hard to tell, obviously, playing the digital version here. But yeah, I was excited about it. How about you, Pepper?
I mean, if you're excited about it, I gotta be a little less excited about it because I know you can be excited about some very crunchy games, which, well, they aren't bad, and I usually do end up enjoying those. They're a little scary to get into, so. But this one also did look nice and look friendly with the colorful nature and the gnomes. Of course, they're usually not going to be a scary thing, but they can be sometimes. And kind of the tile placement, looking at it, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing some familiar things. It doesn't look too complicated, so I was about mid for this one. It wasn't one where I'm like, ooh, I really want to play that, but it wasn't one I was too against playing either.
Okay. We'll see what Pepper ends up thinking, but yeah, I usually alongside these, especially if we're playing them only on Board Game Arena, we would do a try before you buy video where it's pretty much a playthrough. So if you want to actually see us do a full playthrough of it, let us know in the comments below. But this is kind of just going over a game of it, the game of it that we played, so you can kind of see a little bit of what's going on and describe it. We'll describe it a little bit here. But as you can see here, throughout the game, you are placing kind of those tiles out onto the board and trying to make fairy rings with different colored mushrooms on them. And you can see each of your turns. You're adding kind of two of those tiles. If not, maybe sometimes you can have bonus ones that you can play every now and then, but otherwise you are kind of adding to paths, and you have to be able to kind of match on all sides. So you can't just place to add to your little ring and just have it like go into a nothing area. So it has to be able to connect everywhere. So that can be sometimes difficult if you've ever played games like that where it's like, oh, you need multiple sides to match. It's like, dang it, this side is perfect for me, but this side doesn't work. Like Carcassonne and things like that. And yeah, otherwise you're creating these rings, and depending on how many tiles make up that ring when you do complete it, you will be able to place one of your tokens on your player board there. And if it was three tiles, you'd get to place it on that one, and that's just a way to get so kind of working towards the end game. You're either trying to get all of those tokens, those green tokens in that case, down from that those top places down below. That's one end game trigger. Otherwise, you're trying to get. You can see there's that pink flower pot on the top there, trying to fill in all those with the different flower pots, or you run out of tiles. But yeah, so when you complete a ring, you get to potentially move one of those down down if you still have a spot. If you completed your 1-3 option there and then complete a future 3 one, you still can do that, but you do not get to move something down. So you're going to want to get some fives and sixes and seven pluses. And then you can see for those ones in particular, you get some bonuses as well when you do those ones, which can give you some cool things. But otherwise, you get all of the mushrooms from the different colors that are on that ring. So, like in that case, in that one that's circled right now, I believe it looks like you get four pink and then a yellow.
Yep.
And it's also seven tiles. So you see, and now I moved one of those down below there to also get a flower pot and another thing as well. Um,
Mhm.
And when you claim one of those new flower pots, you get to bring it down and get kind of a wild tile that you can use as maybe a third tile during your turn at some point. But yeah, the big one of the big things is you are collecting those mushrooms by creating these rings. And at some point, so after you place those tiles, you'll be able to take another part of your action, and some of those are you can get kind of take some of the available flower pots there to add to the top of your board. So that's one thing you can do, or you can go and sometimes you'll get fence posts, whether you put it out there or your opponents put them out there.
Yeah.
You will be able to go to those and get kind of whatever those have on it. So it could be like the three red mushrooms you can see there, the three yellow, two pink, whichever one would be out there. You could trigger that and claim those. Um, and then eventually you can go to that kind of stump there and make two sails. And you can see the chart over on the right part of the board where you can sell kind of the first one, first come, first serve kind of thing. If you had five red mushrooms now, you could sell that for some points there. And obviously, maybe the longer you try to push your luck there, you can get more points, especially if you can get to the kind of the ends of those. It's usually more points than kind of the beginning ones. Otherwise, if you only have a couple of them, you can always kind of, everyone can kind of get those selling two of them at a time. Um, but yeah, you'll get a lot of points from that potentially. And yeah, that's kind of the whole game. You're completing rings, gaining those mushrooms, selling them for points, and yeah, just kind of going until someone stops that. We did play at two players, and I will say I think more than that could get crazy. It's hard to say because I obviously did not play it, so maybe it depends how you play, how all the people at the table play that. But I think in that case it could end based on running out of tiles because, like I said, once you kind of have your three ring filled in, it's kind of uh,
Yeah.
that's the only one you can do of that. So you got to get bigger and bigger. And this kind of like Carcassonne, the way me and Pepper played our game of this one, I feel like there wasn't really much of this going on, but I think you could potentially uh, work on trying to mess over opponents so that they couldn't complete their bigger rings. And I think that to me, I don't mind it in Carcassonne. I think if it was this game, I would mind it a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't know. We did not play that way, so maybe it isn't as easy as I think it would be, especially at like a four-player count. But I'm like, oh boy, people are gonna because in this game, me and Pepper kind of worked on our own things and kind of just left each other alone. But unlike like a game like Carcassonne, and maybe people don't like that in Carcassonne. I could see people not liking that. I don't mind it, but I feel like this one I wouldn't like it as much.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, Carcassonne, you can have meeples assigned, but you have like five or six of them. This one, you
Yeah.
just have two meeples, and
Yeah, and that was the other action you could take instead of the kind of selling and gaining additional ones. Sorry, you could also claim the start of one of your rings so that
oh, yeah.
you get to kind of work on that. But yeah,
Yes,
sorry.
yes. So also similar to Carcassonne, so if you put a meeple out there, it feels like the actions are much fewer in this one versus Carcassonne, which it might end up being about the same because there is a lot of tile placement here. There's a lot of that, but specifically with the gnome, what you're doing with them, you get what is it, two per turn? So you place two
Yep.
tiles, and does it take two actions with the gnomes? And
And
it
you get to
just
take one action with a gnome, right?
or one action, one gnome action. So it just feels wasted if eventually it's like, oh, that route, that ring that I was trying to build, then they kind of screwed it over, and now I just go move them somewhere else, I guess. So that round was meaningless for the gnome action. So I think it is a little more hurtful here. At least in Carcassonne, you do. They are actually locked in Carcassonne, so you can't get them back. You can get them back here, but you do score a little bit usually with Carcassonne. So I don't know. Sometimes worse, sometimes better, but
Yeah.
I.
But I
I
think in this one, this is the whole game is completing those rings, I would
yeah,
say, or it is a huge, huge, 80, 90% of the game.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and
it's
yeah,
not like
not
you
getting
have.
that done in here is obviously you can, yeah, like Feber said, you can move them off if someone messed it over to where there's no way we're going to connect this now anymore. Um, but it's still very, if you if you had taken a couple turns of adding a couple tiles to it, kind of thing, and then they mess it over.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's a risk you're taking, but
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I guess I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
That made now these, 2, 3 turns in a row almost pointless,
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
but you
but
obviously know you have the option. You know that could happen. So
yeah, but that aside, I do like the kind of ring placement. I do feel like it feels like you don't have that much control because you can't just like create a big ring in one turn. So I'm
mhm.
always like, okay, I'm trying to set this up, and you have to assign your one of your few gnomes to that spot, and it's like, I don't know, it just feels a little like you're kind of locked into place then to complete that. So I don't know if I that might be like a slight negative for me, just because it is. You kind of just have to focus on one at a time. You can't be going around building a bunch of different things like I usually do in Carcassonne, where I'll have a road over here, this, that, that. It's just kind of like, okay, here's my ring. I'm focusing on this specific one for the next few turns. But I like it. I like how they work. I like the special tiles, how they can kind of complete pretty much anything that leads into it. I think they're a good little bonus and give you an extra tile to place on a turn, so your turn can feel bigger. So I like that. I like gaining those resources, trying to get as many as you can to sell high amounts. Definitely the more valuable one. I felt a lot more rewarded for those purple ones that I sold versus just some red ones or yellow ones that ended up just kind of being 1 point increase every additional one. Where I'm
Mhm.
like, should I sell it now or should I get more? I mean, what's the point? It's just 1 point more to get that versus that. But I did like that. I liked selling those. Um, I don't know. It's got a lot of good stuff into it. I think I mainly probably enjoyed the player board here and kind of the bonus that you get getting those. Maybe it's just the satisfaction of it. It just is more satisfying to slot these down into these spots and get, especially those sevens. Those rewards are awesome.
Mhm.
And just getting all the different plants as well is pretty satisfying to me, pretty rewarding. Even though I guess I don't know, point 1 to 3 to 6 to 10 to 14. I mean, like it's not like much more than anything else you do, but I just found that being probably my favorite central part is the board rewards.
Yeah, I would agree. That felt the most satisfying on there for sure. And I do like that you can't just add on someone's
Yeah,
thing randomly without their permission. So if you are adding a tile directly to the path, you'd have to get their permission to do that. So you can't like just screw them by adding it specifically to that. So you'd have to add something around it. So that does give you a little bit more of a challenge potentially. So I do like that they at least block that. But I would agree. My favorite part is probably the player board and kind of those point scoring ways on that. I think that's fun and having kind of those multiple ways to have a end game thing and those all being big points if you do get there. Um, but yeah, overall, I'll say I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I was hoping to. I was hoping to enjoy it a little bit more. I think just played a lot of other tile placement games that I maybe have enjoyed a little bit more. Like you said, once you started one, it just kind of felt like, okay, well, next turn I'm going to try to complete it.
yeah,
And we weren't like trying to mess over each other, so it wasn't really. And you only have those two. Um, so yeah, I really now I'm really focusing on Carcassonne, and I love that game, so it's not really fair. But I'd probably give this one just initial thoughts. Maybe after playing more, I'll see other things, and maybe we will try to go after each other, and it'll still work, and maybe that'll make it even more interesting. I'm not sure. Um, Probably initial thought about like a 6, maybe 6.25. Um, Still be willing to play it, but probably would not get a physical copy myself.
yeah, yeah. I'll give it a 7 maybe. Probably in there from 6.5 to 7. But I'll give it a 7 just because I when I did get rewarded, it felt good, but it seems like there's a lot of buildup, like the resources as well. Just you try to get the tiles that match to be able to create a ring, And then sometimes I mean, one of this one's pretty good, 4 pinks in a single one, so that works out for you. But sometimes you just get a random bunch, and it's like you got like one blue, two yellow, you get a pink and some purple, and it's like I don't want to sell any of these sets yet, so I just keep collecting about. Then you get up to like maybe 30 total freaking resources, and it's like, okay, now I can finally sell. And when you sell, it's good, but there's a lot of buildup, I think. Maybe a little too much, at least with how it turned out in my game, but still good. A lot of good parts to it.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think there's anything like off put or like, oh my gosh, that's just terrible. I absolutely hate it. There's nothing like that in this game. And yeah, I think it's one that's definitely worth trying on Board Game Arena, especially if you haven't played many tile placement games. Could be one that you really, really enjoy potentially, because it is fun. And yeah, I think I would at least recommend trying it if these are the kind of things you tend to like in games. But yeah, like I said before, we could do a try before you buy, a playthrough if you wanted to see that. So let us know in the comments below if you would. If you liked the video, you can give us a thumbs up, subscribe for future ones of these, and yeah, we hope to see you on the next one. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content and those shrooms.